In this 1723rd Hyojeong CheonBo special workshop and participating all of the members around the world, I want to welcome you. In this, I would like to share the vision, a message of the vision about the HJ Heaven and Earth CheonBo Training Center and the grace of the Cheonsimwon Providence. Currently, we are waiting, longing for True Mother's return to the palace, and I truly hope we could able to go through this march with that kind of heart. Let's first read True Parents' words. I myself have often bumped into pitch black walls many times. You probably do not know that every time that happened, the voice saying, "God is not dead," still remains deep in my bones. On the 1500th Cheonsimwon Vigil Devotion, it was a message from True Father. The world may try to cover our eyes in darkness so we can see nothing, but have we ever surrendered to the world? Rather, we have naturally subjugated the world with love. Once again, the moment is approaching when Mother's patience, love, and true life will be testified before the world. The sun is rising. True parents as well. Sometimes they were in a situation, in such dire situation, where they could even see an inch forward, and that kind of they were in circumstances with such frustrated 심정. But also at this time, True Mother going through so much hardships. Those hardship is, I think, that same situation. Although because of even in those circumstances, that circumstance, it's a time where we could show and prove the sincerity towards the heaven. That was the words of True Father. This picture, as you can see in the screen, this is the same place. The difference is, one is taken from the day, one was what took on the night. You could see the picture taken on the day as clear. However, in the night, it's dark, so it seems that you can't see anything. However, when you look at, you could see those things that are more visible in the picture taken at night. Are you able to see those or not? That thing we could see more visible is the starlights. In the morning, you cannot be able to see the stars in the sky. However, at night, we could see a lot of stars. We are able to see those things at night. When it's darker, we could see more visibly the stars at night. The stars on the night sky, with that kind of that true, those truths are able to be more visible in such hard circumstances, and that was the feeling that I got. And currently in this difficult situation, it's easier for us to distinguish and find righteous people whenever there was the dissolution of the family federation in Japan. There was a church in Okinawa, a Christian church. This church offered to lend this church venue for the worship. They would rent it out without fees, without rental fees. They lent to our members to use this venue. So, in this really dark times, we are able to see visibly the stars. We are able to identify the righteous people even more clearly. That is the words have the true mother and true father. Do you know what the season of this picture? Do you think what month of the year is it? Do you think it's December? It might. Do you think it's January? It's actually April. Oh, it's actually March. It was during March last year. You could see the snow falling down. In the picture, what month do you think this picture was taken from? It was May? Do you think it's May? This was also on March 29th. It was the same day that took place. Do you see the difference? It was snowing so hard, but after a few months later, we could see the sky clearing out. That day was the day of the Gapyeong Hyojo Cultural Festival on March 29th. At this time, this moment, it was for the very first event for the Cheonbo 22nd entrance ceremony. It was a day that we were able to see all four seasons in a single day at that. So, because of the victorious foundation of true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, now it's the era of first settlement of Cheonilguk. It is a time where the story of providence of restoration is finished. During the providence of restoration, it was an era of moving. However, in the settlement era, it is the staying. However, in the Cheonilguk firm establishment of Cheonilguk, it is the era of living. Currently, we are living in the Cheonilguk era of firm settlement. That was the proclamation by true parents. But I had this big question in my mind. It is an era of firm establishment of Cheonilguk. But why are we experiencing so many difficulties in this time? That was the big question that I had in mind. I had so much struggles. If it was a providence of restoration era, it might make sense. However, we are currently living in an era of firm establishment of Cheonilguk. Why are we experiencing these establishments? That was my question for heaven. At that moment, in my heart, I could feel a word. There are winds that also comes during spring. So this breeze of winter, it's until April. Now we were able to see flowers blossoming, but sometimes at those times there are times that snow will fall, and I think and we are able to see that kind of era coming. We could see flowers blossoming up, but we could also see winds, freezing winds. That was like the realization I had, like a voice of answer from heaven. So I actually searched this term, and it is the wind coming from the Siberia. it is coming.
과정 속에서 일시적으로 잠깐 오는 뭐 그런 근데 제가 별로 그렇게 마음에 와닿지가 않더라고요. 그 내용은.
Didn't really resonate with me at that time, but however, through AI,
저한테 시적으로 알려주는 내용이 있었어요.
there was like a poetic
그게 뭐였냐면 첫 번째로
thing that AI told me that it is winter's final jealousy of spring.
그래서 겨울이
It is the last tantrum winter throws right before it departs.
이렇게 표현을 해요.
There's also the expression through the AI.
꽃을 단단하게
Also,
만드는 시련이
another expression was that it was a trial to make the flowers resilient,
표현하면
a hardship bestowed by nature, lest the blooms wither too quickly or grow frail from opening too easily. So this breeze, winter breeze during spring, the flowers and the plants are able to deep root, even firmly establish their root. Also, it is a final bath to welcome spring.
그리고 세 번째로는 봄을 맞이하기
A final bath to welcome the spring.
목욕이다. 이렇게
It's
표현해놨어요.
nature's courtesy
대지의 때를
of washing away the earth's grime with a crisp wind, meticulously preparing a pristine seat for the newly blossoming flowers.
그러니까
So,
아직도 이 꽃에요.
in these flowers, there will have grimes and dusts. All of those things will be sticking onto the flowers. But however, through this breeze, they will be able to wash away and blow away the grime with a crisp wind and meticulously preparing a pristine seed for the newly blossoming flowers. So through this breeze that was blowing into spring, I was able to see the things that are happening, and I truly believe that this was the answer to the question I had in mind. It is my answer. I don't want to force my answer to all of our members. However, though I think, what kind of answer have you received from heaven? If you have received any answers from heaven, it will be really great if you could share to me as well. But during this era of firm establishment of Cheonilguk, we're currently going through this winter breeze as a final tantrum of the winter. And true parents said, has prepared a land for the era of the firm establishment of Cheonilguk. The entire earth should be the kingdom of heaven on earth. However, not every place starts as heaven. It started from a single point, spreading out to the entire world. This is true Father's words. I found a principle through bone-numbing hardships, but to find this place, Cheonpyeong, I also carved my bones and shed blood, sweat, and tears. So, during this era of firm establishment of Cheonilguk, true parents have offered so much devotion and for decades and prepared the foundation for the firm establishment of Cheonilguk. When I had the deep realization in 1971, July 12th, after building the original sanctuary, the first stage of providence started. The second, from 1995 and January 19, through the works of Hyojin-nim and Taemun-nim on working on behalf of true parents. And the third, after True Father's ascension to the whole spirit world, from after 2012, September 3rd, after True Father's holy ascension, True Mother said that True Father is working in the spirit world and True Mother is working in the physical world, and as like a joint works from heaven and earth, the third providential stage was opened. So the first stage, providence, opening the path of the spiritual liberation, started from the Moon Clan Liberation ceremony, general spiritual world liberation ceremony, and also unification liberation ceremony. This is True Parents' words. The general liberation ceremony was held in Cheongpyeong. It is a place where all problems gather spiritually and where all important problems must be solved from. When we look at the providence of heaven, if there's a problem, True Parents have sought for the key that could solve the problem. And that was the words that this is the place that we need to find the key for all of these problems. That's the words in 1975. In the second stage of the providence, it is the proxy works of the substantial Holy Spirit centering on 효주님 and 대주님. It was the liquidation of member sins and healing of spiritual diseases. It's through the completion of 210 generations of ancestor liberation and blessing ceremonies and systemization. It was the starting of the systemization of the CheonBo providence. It was the construction of the Cheonsong Wanglim Palace, Cheonjeonggung, and the Cheongshin Peace World Center. Through the completion of these institutions, True Parents have set the foundation for the firm establishment of Cheonilguk. Upon that foundation, and the third stage providence, True Parents' direct dominion and automatic works through the direct dominion of True Parents, we are able to enter that stage. Over the 21 years of devotion, an automatic system has been created. If you pray and offer devotion, you can solve problems yourselves. Such a spiritual foundation has been prepared. So, True Mother has also first given the message, the words, is about environmental maintenance. There are many treasures in this Hyojeong Cheonam complex, so look for all of the treasures. So, starting from 2020 September, she established the Hanonjip, and then the dedication ceremony was on September 28. And True Mother has said, those who come here and earnestly pray and offer devotion will become healthy. Also, in the next year, True Mother has said, came to this Hyojeong tree. It is upon the hill behind the Cheonsimon, and looking at the Hyojeong tree and asking Hyojeong Namu, how old are you? This Hyojeong Namu was planted on 1943. It is the same year of True Mother's birth. So, when you look at the theology in Northern Europe, there's an Odin theology. There was the creation theology. It's a legend that where there were human beings were created by trees, but this tree is a tree that represents women. The kind of tree has the same age as True Mother, and after knowing this, President Lee Gi-sung reported it to True Mother, and this was the time when True Mother came to the Cheonam complex and go to the Hyojeong tree and named the tree Hyojeong tree. And whenever our members who earnestly pray and offer devotion in that Hyojeong tree will become healthy. That was the benediction and the blessing given by our True Mother. When I listened to that words, I was in Jeju. Oh no, there was a person who was in Jeju Island, the family who were not a member. They came to the Hyojeong tree and then they would embrace the Hyojeong tree. The mother and father brought a 5-year-old child, embracing and hugging the Hyojeong tree. This was a mute child up until 5 years old. He was not able to speak. But after offering devotion, embracing the Hyojeong tree, and coming back down, there's a kids cafe in Pung department store. There was a miracle. it was a mute child who was not able to speak a single word for 5 years until he was 5 years old. After that, he was able to speak out, mother, mom, 엄마. It was such a miracle that happened. There was a person who had a lot of Tourette's syndrome, and during their 4-day workshop, they will come to the Hyojeon tree and pray earnestly every day for the younger brother to be liberated from the Tourette's disease. And during this period, the duration of the 40-day workshop, the Tourette's syndrome of the younger brother naturally subsided, and he was able to restore his physical health. That was a miraculous testimony given. The true mother said, if you offer devotion and pray earnestly in this Hyojeon tree, you will become healthy. And a lot of the testimonies were given through a lot of members. Also, True Mother has said that there are a lot of treasures around this place. Mother's guidance was to find all of those treasures, and because there was a word during the searching for those treasures, we are able to create the mother's path. From March to April 2023, the first phase was created 480 meters. The next, we were able to extend another 460 meters and establish and connect the path until the Cheonan Peak. In 2023, True Mother came here in person and came here walked 480 meters, and True Mother walked this path in person. When we go into the path of the mother's path, we could see a big tree on the right side. That in the legend and the myth of the Odin, this type of tree was used in creation of man, and this tree, it's upon a rock. So this is a tree that is upon a rock. When we put those together, there is the Jesus upon the rock. It represents the second coming Messiah. That was the symbol. This tree kind of symbolized that, and that was the tree found by President Lee Gi-sung, and the name became Father's tree. And when we go enter, even when we look, there's a tree, and if you look closely, it kind of resembles like a person's face, and there is a tree on top of the rock. So this tree is upon a rock. It is with the roots really deep down. So there's another rock on the opposite part. That rock is called the devil's rock because it kind of symbolizes the devil. And the rock with the tree on top is heaven's rock. It is heaven's rock, preparing for the only begotten daughter. That is symbolizing this. Though all those things are symbolized in this heaven's rock. Now that devil's rock became the archangel rock, and he was restored into the archangel position. The True Mother is sitting on top of that rock. And because True Mother came until here, and because of her blessing here, And True Mother has given more direction to find more treasures. President Lee Ki-sung, whenever he has time, he will walk around and find things. And he was able to extend 460 meters from that place. And then when you go into those places, there's another big rock there. President Lee Ki-sung that there is a righteous person, although there is a person who is practicing faith is inside. This is a person wearing a robe. Could you actually see? There's a robe. He is wearing a spiritual robe. And because there was no road, all of the members and the staff in the training centers made the way there. And now we're able to establish until this place. So all the members during spring and summer and fall, they will walk this mother's path barefoot. When we walk this place barefoot, it's not a place where only our members just walk here. The word spread unto the soul, and guests will come to this place to walk barefoot, those who are not members. So this place is a really good path that is good for the health. That was the words that was spread until soul. So if you around the mother's path there is Cheonshim, Lake Cheonshim. This Cheonpyeong Dam is the first dam on the Bukhan River, completed in 1943. True Mother's birth was on 1943. On that year, this Cheonpyeong Dam was completed, and because of the Cheonpyeong Dam, Lake Cheonshim began. And True Mother, upon that lake, was a Gapyeong cruise. This is the one and only eco-friendly electric cruise in Korea. There is no big ferry electric cruise in Korea. This is the only one. True Mother is really thinking about the environment because of the three great blessings. The third blessing is to have dominion of all things. The center, the essence of the third blessing is about the environment. That's the reason why True Mother is so focused on environmental issues. That is the reason why she was able to establish this Hyojeong cruise as an eco-friendly cruise, and that was a grace given from true parents. So internally as well, the works of rebirth and resurrection that turn plating into pure gold. Have you been blessed? If you received the blessing, we should become pure gold. However, we are not able to become pure gold. We were we looked like gold externally. However, when we look into the internal, it was all fake internally. Because we were not able to become pure gold, and we just became plating. We need to restore ourselves into pure gold, and that this Hyojeong Cheonwon was blessed by true parents for us to become pure gold. Do you know the movie titled 영가시? This is a movie that was screened in 2012. There was a parasite that enters the human body, and the human body and this parasite drives them to drown themselves into. That kind of parasite is 영가시. So this 영가시, which is a horsehair worm, There's actually a horsehair worm. There are no horsehair worm that comes that enters a human's body, but there are worms that parasites that enter insects' bodies, and it actually is actually a worm that drown. This is the worm that is coming. I didn't know that this was in Korea, but I was so surprised looking at this. I was walking by the lake. I saw this mantis in water. It was still alive. It wasn't live mantis, but it was. When I tried to, I saw this worm coming out of the body of the mantis. I was so surprised. Could you see the wire-like worm? It's twice as big as the mantis. It was the first time I saw this. I was so shocked. Initially, I didn't know this was real. Because the mantis was alive, I released the mantis into the grass. And after 30 minutes later, after I was walking past by this, but this mantis actually came back and was trying to enter the water once more. But the appearance, like he was walking like dizzy, unconscious. I thought to myself, oh, there might be the parasite still inside. So he still wanted to enter the water. Looking at this appearance, I had the realization that this might be our image, this might be our appearance today. In the page 70 of the exposition of divine principle, all people, without knowing it, are driven by some evil force to abandon the good desired by their original mind and to perform unwanted will. The main agent of this evil force is called Satan. There are things that we do unknowingly, forcing us to do bad things, unwanted evil things. What is the origin of all of this thing? It's from Satan. It's like this parasite driving this mantis to the water. Satan is manipulating us to drown ourselves in evil. That is the things happening within all human beings. I was able to have that realization through looking at the parasite worm. True parents had also said that more than 90% of human suffering stems from spiritual problems, and more than 90% of the diseases that modern healthy people have are related to the sins of their ancestors. We have a lot of illnesses, physical illness, spiritual, mental illness, also spiritual illness. It is all of those things are caused by the spirits who have resentments caused by our ancestors. That was the words of true parents. So, true parents offer devotion for us to be liberated, and true parents has centering on this CheonBo complex. The CheonBo providence started because of that. Every week through the weekend workshop, the true parents allowed. Today, do you know what batch is today's? It's 1723rd weekend workshop. So during 4 times of great works a year, and 40-day workshops as well. Do you know the batch number of this current 440-day workshop? It is 280. It is 283rd.
수련을 진행하고 있습니다.
It is a 283rd 40-day workshop.
수련들을 통해서
Because of this workshop, we are able to be liberated from spiritual illnesses. That is the heart and that is the love of our true parents, wanting us to be liberated from this pain. And through the ancestral liberation and special liberation, we are able to liberate and save our ancestors. Our members, some of the members think that after ancestral liberation, it's over. However, let's say your ancestor has killed someone, and those resentful spirit that was murdered by your ancestor, he's gonna find the descendants of the ancestor and to do an eye for an eye. But because the ancestors, since we are blessed families, because they got lucky because we liberated our ancestors, but the spirit that was murdered was not saved. Through our ancestral liberation and blessing, our ancestors who were the murderer was saved. However, the spirit that was murdered by ancestors was not saved. How do you think that spirit will feel? He'll be even more enraged, and with that kind of heart, he will try to take revenge. So even you just finish your ancestral liberation blessing, it's not over, because all of the resentment spirits, because they had a lot of resentful feelings towards our ancestor, we need to liberate them through the central evil spirit liberation and special liberation. Through that, because of our inadequate devotion, the Hyojang offering papers fills in the lacking devotion and blocks the works of evil spirits related to one's wishes. It is a special grace that has given to us, and through the 천심원 devotion, vigil devotion, through this vigil devotion, we are able to remove, we are able to resonate with the 천심 of Heavenly Parent, and that is the special grace given through the 천심원 vigil devotion. And what this is the gift bundle given by true parents. True Father has said that through the daily vigil devotions, weekly CheonBo workshops, and quarterly great works, we must build devotion for each stem, tie knots for each joint, bind these stems together, and create an umbilical cord, a devotion connecting Mother and me that will never be severed. Through this umbilical cord of devotion, we can properly receive all the blessings given by Heavenly Parent and by Holy Mother Han, who is substantial Heavenly Mother. So, in this 1723rd workshop, those who are participating, you are wise people. Those who are sitting down, there are people who participate every week. There are people who participate every week, register every week. When you participate every week, we're able to get rid of our blemish. We are able to get rid of our evil spirits. And through that, it is easier for us to liberate absolute good evil spirits during great works, and offering devotion, daily devotion and the vigil devotion. One of a monk, there's a monk who his spiritual senses were open. This monk had cancer. She had breast cancer. This breast cancer was it was morphing, and it was it's getting transferred to other organs as well. and she actually
우리 일본 식구님께서
came down from
참 어머님 자서전을 받고 우리 교회하고
from the mountain, and she was able to be connected with our movement because of True Mother's memoir, gifted to her as a Japanese missionary,
데리고 이 수료론에 왔습니다.
and that she came to one of our churches, and the pastor actually brought her to the training center. He dropped her off in the training center and said to her, "You need to do a 40-day workshop," and then he just left. This is a place that she never been here. There was one big tree. It was written, "The Tree of Love." Do you think that she was looking and praying, finding for the love, and she could see the light of love embracing spiritually to her, and she told, "I'm sorry, there is actually love," and then she walked up to the stairs and entered 천심원. When she entered 천심원, what is this place? And she just saw the portraits of true parents and asking, "What is this place?" Because she was spiritually open.
갑자기 아버님께서
At that moment, True Father
그 보좌에서 딱
came down from his throne
자기한테 꿀밥을 때리시더라고요.
and hit her on her head. "Hey, you,
여기는 내 심장짜리야.
this is my heart. This is position on my heart.
여기는 내 심장짜리라고.
This is my heart." That was the words of True Father.
네가
So
여기서 기도할 수 있을 만큼 기도하고 나가라.
you should pray until you could, as long as you can. When she was praying, she could feel that she is lit up like there's a fire upon it. And when they're praying for 30 minutes, she could feel that she couldn't even pray her because she felt like she was on fire. Because of the heat, it was too hot for her. She went out of the 천심원, ran out of the 천심원. But after that, after that experience, it was actually October, but she was wearing shorts. I thought, she might actually gone crazy, but actually, that monk came to me. "Oh, lecturer, director, after I went to 천심원 and received the fire through our prayer, I received this fire. I think after." She said, "Since then, the hotness doesn't die down. That's the reason I was wearing short sleeves for 3 days during winter." After the 40-day workshop, when she went back to her home and did a checkup for her cancer once more in the hospital. The breast cancer was organized. It didn't even leave a trace. That was the miracles that happened in 천심원. So this monk absolutely become our member. She also offered 3 times a 40-day devotion. So True Mother has said, this 천심원 is the office of True Father. This is the working office of True Father. It is also a position where it is like a heart of True Father. It is the umbilical cord that is connected to True Mother's womb. It is a place where the nutritions we are able to receive the spiritual nutrition of Heavenly Mother. So our second and third generation, whenever they offer devotion in 천심원, they are able to experience True Father. They are able to experience 효진님, 흥진님, and 데모님, and also receive the love of resurrection and of True Mother and see a substantial change. That is the Yeongseong 40-day workshop. So this Yeongseong 40-day workshop is currently on the 20th batch. True Mother, in the 5th Yeongseong spiritual 40-day workshop, and told this to these trainees, "I have waited a long time to see you. The one needle I sought to find in the sandstorm is precisely you." Those are the words given to the participants of the 5th spirituality workshop. And on the 8th and 9th spirituality workshop, it was the first time where Korean and Japanese members went through the first spirituality workshop. At that moment, True Mother called those workshop trainees and told them, "You are my direct children. You are my direct lineage and my direct children." So True Mother, she said, "There's a lot of treasures in Hyojeon complex." That was the words of True Mother. The treasure among those treasure is our second and third generation children. 아주. That is the profound works of the absolute good spirit words, and upon the devotion, we are able to do the things because of the devotion in 천심원 visual devotion. Yesterday was 1525th. It is the 1525th. It was nothing. No one could actually do this. It was a devotion without change of heart for 6 years, fulfilling True Mother's words, concentrating on True Mother's words, and absolutely becoming one with True Father's absolute good spirit world. It is such a profound devotion offered, and that is my realization. True Mother said, in the first 천심원 visual devotion, we should not forget the words of True Mother. It is about the reunification of North and South Korea. Now is the time for unification of North and South Korea. Father must step forward directly and mobilize the spiritual world to unify the North and South. Only then can world restoration be strongly carried out. 천심원 must become the mainstream of their providence to achieve the unification of North and South Korea. It was during the COVID era. It was and people said, because we need to social distance, it's really hard for us to offer devotion in 천심원. But True Mother said, even if you had to practice social distancing. The next day after her message, there was this joint building of North and South Korea. The North Koreans detonated a bomb in this joint building. True Mother is asking for us to offer devotion so that True Father could work and open the gates of unification. That should be the devotion. That is the start of the 천심원 visual devotion. There's an American prophet named Rick Joyner. This is his prophecy. Korea will in the future become one of the most important strategic strongholds in the world. It is the doors of amazing change will open in North Korea. A history of the two divided nations reunited will take place, and at that time, Korea will become one of the most powerful nations on earth, both spiritually and economically. However, if the spiritual watchmen become exhausted before that time arrives, or if they neglect their state of alertness, great danger will come. Who do you think the spiritual watchmen are that will open the open the gates of unification? When I listened to this prophecy, I thought this is a real prophecy. True Mother is asking us to reunify the North and South Korea through 천심원 devotion. But through this prophecy, if the spiritual watchmen become exhausted before the time arrives, and if they neglect their state of awareness, great danger will come. So, the spiritual watchman is the members, is the spiritual watchman is us who are offering devotion in Cheonshimon devotion. If we become exhausted, great danger will come. That is the reason why President Lee Ki-sung is continuously without cease offering devotion in Cheonshimon, marching forward. There's a prophet named Jeon1723rd and said that 2020 and 2036, this, if you look at Korea, it's until China, up until Mongol, and also some parts of Russia. I'm sorry to our Japanese members, but there's also Korea is the colony. Japan will be the colony of Korea. It's just, I'm not saying that this is a prophecy. I'm not saying that it's through war, but because the Messiah of humanity, they were here in South Korea, in Korea. The spiritual, I think, the spiritual influence of true parents is reaching out to other countries. I think that is how we could understand. And True Mother is saying that 2/3 of the world should be restored when I am still on earth. This map actually is the 2/3 of the entire population. So whenever we feel that there are a lot of rocks hindering us, however, daffodils that represent spring, they will bloom. Even though there are a lot of hindrances and a lot of difficulties, the spring of providence will come. This is the daffodil on Cheonjeonggung. It was bloomed on February 20, 2026. At this, it was a daffodil that is breaking the ice. The sprout is breaking the ice, ready to bloom. This will be the daffodil. The white daffodil represents thank you, gratitude, and the yellow daffodil is please return to me. That is the meaning behind this daffodil. I was so shocked. I was so surprised. I thought this is the 심정 of True Mother. This is the 심정 of True Mother. The meaning of the flower is instilled in the daffodils. And do you know what True Mother's motto is? Is to be grateful, be more grateful today than yesterday, and be more grateful tomorrow than today. When we look at humanistic eyes, the detention center is not a place of gratitude. However, True Mother is living the right life of gratitude even in the circumstance. True Mother is a person who is embracing. That's the love. That's the heart of True Mother. That 심정 of True Mother is instilled in the meaning of the daffodil. If we have the 심정 of Heavenly Parent, and if we have the 심정 of True Mother, if we live with inheriting those 심정, we'll be able to bloom daffodil, breaking the ice. Even there are a lot of rocks hindering us, we will push the rock away and be able to bloom the providential spring. And that was the realization we had. How about you, members? If you feel the same, let us offer another big round of applause of gratitude for true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind. Lastly, to our leaders of Heavenly Japan, True Mother and True Father, and Heavenly Parent, Kyojunim has given a spiritual message. I would like to go through it briefly. This is a fight now. It is a fight of devotion. If we don't have devotion, we will lose, and devotion should always have results. So believe in me and march forward, because I am together with you all the time. Please do not worry. We should witness to those righteous people. Should not be afraid, and we should march forward. Even we get persecuted, and we don't need to fear those. There are righteous people prepared. We need just to find them to prepare. The key is in the Cheonshima Vijay devotion. So through a Cheonshima Vijay devotion, we should find a prepared righteous people. That is the message we should instill and carve into our hearts. And in this 1723rd weekend workshop, I hope all of those who are participating will be able to receive heaven's blessing and heaven's fortune, and this providential spring, and to restore the essence of our faith. And I hope all of the members will be able to do so, and that will be the conclusion of my main message. Thank you very much.